Welcome, 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 everyone, to another amazing episode of Beyond Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and that's with two F's, fulfilling fabulous or financially free. And that brings me to our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. And without further ado, let me bring on Mr. Gerald G. Novo Campbell. How are you today, sir?
How you doing? I'm doing great.
Awesome sauce. Man, I mean, I checked out your bio and you definitely are the go-to person for talking about finances. So, can you tell us, first of all, who is G Nova?
Okay, so my name is Gerald Campbell. I'm originally from Queens, New York, and my family's from Jamaica. Right now, we are located in the 305 as far as Nova Sound and Nova Financial Technology as an operation. And our goal is to expand regionally. I come from a music background. Both of my parents are musicians.
Oh,
I love music, passionate about music. Music is kind of what created it all. So I'm very grateful for what the Doors music has done for me. And then when we get into the book, I'm going to talk about the cover of the book and why it's a big headphones with the dollar sign in the middle of the book. But G Nova or G Nova Sound, that's my stage name as a
okay.
musician, as a producer, as a poet, and as a percussionist, as well as a music composer. So that's my first career, my first path, my first group of trades. And as time went on, just having a passion for business and having a passion for hustle. I was big on entrepreneurship in high school and different things like that. And getting into finance and studying the world of finance and what's going on. What is this invention? Because it is an invention. That's what led me to start Nova Financial Technology. So two separate companies, but it operates like one.
Okay. That's wonderful. So, tell us, how did it all get started? How did you get you mentioned your parents were involved in music, but how did you learn to love music?
So man, I definitely want to say I was a natural musician, but also a natural engineer, natural technician. I began writing songs as a kid. Began writing poems as a kid, and I also took an interest in technology. So now that I'm looking back on it as an adult, as a grown man, I definitely see where it was all forming. And my parents were definitely a huge inspiration as musicians. And with my family being from the Jamaican culture, this is a very musical culture. And it's also a culture that pushes you to achieve high. So those were definitely the foundational years. And I started with poetry, and from there it was up.
Wow. So were you ever shy or, you know, you went on stage and just knew what to do? How did it go?
Well, I definitely started more so behind the scenes,
Okay.
just because I wasn't blessed with the vocal ability of my parents. Um, got a little shot at band, not very long. It was probably, I want to say it was a school year of band, but that's what led me to music production. So music production and media production, the two go hand in hand. So my advice to anybody who's getting into media production, music production, don't be afraid to explore those additional traits around the thing that you do, because that's ultimately what will produce more opportunities and more streams of income, right? More credits, more brand notoriety, and just having a higher IQ as a producer, as an entrepreneur. There's no downside to that.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So, can you tell us, have you written any music you write as well as
Yes. So I have a
songs?
new, yeah, absolutely. So I have a new single out called Honest. You can stream it at novasound.tv. I have an EP coming out called A New Wave. So the tour I'm on right now, where you and I met at InvestFest this past week, the tour is also called the New Wave Tour. So
Hmm.
I take a unique approach because not only am I a financial engineer, but I'm also an audio engineer, so and a musician as well.
Wow. So you said musician. What instruments do you play?
So I'm a percussionist and a composer, as
Wow.
well as
How
a
long did it
vocalist.
take you?
I really, it's been over a decade of me producing and playing.
Wow. That is amazing. So how when it comes to you writing, a song, how do you get
Yes.
in the mode? What do you do? Do you go somewhere away like a hotel or, to avoid distractions? How long does it take? What's your secret sauce?
I love that question. So I absolutely love the beach, but anywhere where
Mm,
I could free my mind. And that'd be the
yeah.
same thing. That's the advice I would give to any creative if you ever feel stuck or blocked. And I just let things flow. So when I'm creating a track, oftentimes the lyrics come to me as I'm creating the track. But if somebody send it to me and I don't feel it, it might come later. And then sometimes people send tracks and it's like immediately I feel it and I just let it flow. I start freestyling. I start coming up with the melody, and then I'm gonna go ahead and plug the words in as we go. And
Okay.
I've had some success, and my music is available at novasound.tv. So G Nova speaks more to the poet, the artist, and G Nova Sound speaks more to the music composer and the sound designer.
Okay. So you mentioned that you listen to the music first and then you insert the lyrics. Do you ever reverse it and just write the words first and then pull the music to it?
Yeah, sometimes I do have the concept down and the producer send it to me, or I'll have it in my mind. Um, and now I have the concept drawn out, and now I'm going to sit down in front of the keyboard with the drum machine or with some percussion instruments, and I'm going to bring the track to life. So yeah, it can go either way. As of late, and then I would tell other entrepreneurs the same thing. I began to outsource more things just because we are scaling. So I'm not composing as much. I'm not producing as much these days as far as sitting down and writing the composition myself. I've brought a few producers onto my team. Shout out to Row One Up. He's located in Atlanta. Shout out to Shabazz Beats. He's in Kingston, Jamaica. And I have several other producers. And as of late, I've been collaborating with more producers to get more music out.
Wow. How do you get inspired to create a song?
So inspiration definitely comes from a lot of different places. The top place I would say is real life. Concepts come to mind. I actually write my songs in my books, my finance books, the same way. A concept comes to mind, I write it down, either in a notes or I email it to myself, and then boom, I begin to build the chapter or the song around that concept.
Wow. Awesome. So, what kind of advice would you like to give anyone who's interested in pursuing writing music?
I love that question. The number one thing I tell anybody at any event, I tell all my students is, guys, if you want to make a career out of being a musician, a composer, a producer, a sound designer, you need to create, produce a lot. I tell everybody 100. You need at least 100 of whatever you do to even know if it's right for you, right? But aside from that, let's say you know for sure it's right for you. That first 100 is getting the training wheels off. You're going to
Yeah.
discover your sound. You're going to discover your style. You're going to discover what works best for you. You're going to have a collection of songs that resonate a lot more than the other ones. You're going to have songs that you go back and finish maybe 10 years later. And then in that first 100, you might have your gem, the one that
Wow.
changes your life or the one that opens the door and inspires the next chapter of your career. So, and same advice to the graphic designers, all the designers: work, produce. Don't think it's just going to be one. For some people, it's one. Some people, their first song is the song. Some people, it's the song number 1,000. But what difference does it make if it's something you love to do and you're pushing forward and you're making progress? So that would be my advice to all the creatives.
That's great advice. So, do you handle all of your own marketing, sales, advertisement, you know, everything?
So Nova Sound is celebrating year number 11. We're
Wow.
quickly approaching 12. And what I've learned over the course of the time is you got to bring in the other experts, and you absolutely, and it's okay to outsource things. So I don't handle everything. I have several contractors who do a lot of these things where, I enjoy just being the CEO. And I recognize as CEO, you absolutely have to free up your time and your hands to focus on other things that are going to push the
Mm,
business forward.
that's true. So, how
Mhm.
do you build your team? Is it by referrals or just people you grew up with? What do you do?
That's a great question. Combination of things. And I've never been asked that question in that way, but it's a combination of things. So shout out to my alma mater, Full Sail University. I went to a school that created a very rigorous program, right? So
Mm,
like I know anybody who makes it through that program can most likely fit somewhere in my operation. It might be long term, might be short term, it might just
mm,
be something small. And then for anybody who's listening and you like, well, I kind of like this guy, I want to work with this guy, I'm open to pitches. So I tell people, pitch. That's how I got a lot of my early business. It was clients who I just walked in and I said, I can do this, this, and this for your venue, or I can do this, this, and this style of voiceover, or what do you think about this production that I made with you in mind? Sometimes you just gotta go. You gotta go
that's
pitch.
yeah, that's
And then
true. Wow. Go
there's
ahead.
people I grew up with who I know I can tap on. And I'm big on family. I believe family business can work. It might
Yeah.
take some time. And then you also have to separate the business from the personal while it's business time. But I think family business can work. So referrals as well. And people I meet in the industry. So I tell other entrepreneurs, get out. Like I met a lot of people at InvestFest. That's what I love about InvestFest. I'm gonna meet a lot of people. I'm gonna follow up with people who really stood out.
Yeah.
And now look, the team forms.
Mm, yes, yes, yes. So, how do you differentiate fans from friends?
Hmm. That's a really good one. So when it comes to friends, I believe friendship is something that's built over time, but it's very personal. It's a very personal relationship versus fans or supporters. You might not be that personal. It might be more of a high and buy type thing. There's an investment made on both ends. And sometimes those relationships can become friendships, but overall friendships are personal relationships.
Good point. Great point. Okay, so let's talk about the financial part, the financial literacy. Why is financial literacy such a critical skill for entrepreneurs and professionals today?
Financial literacy is so important. Financial literacy, financial technology, understanding what's
Mm,
going on in the world, because whether we like it or not, we are in it. We are in
yes.
it like 2 feet in, every single one of us. So what I tell people when they pick up the book is, if life was a game, or in the game of life, we have 3 scores. We have our physical health, our mental health, and then we have our financial health. So
Ooh.
if this was a game and it was 3 bars above my head,
Mhm.
boom, those would be those 3 bars. And you want to pay very, very close attention to those scores.
Ooh.
We
Yeah.
know about our physical health. Most school systems, you have some course, some sort of gym class or some sort of PE early on. Mental
Right.
health, I feel like the awareness of mental health this past decade, this past 10, 20 years has been on the uprise so much, especially in first world countries for sure, because people are really trying to understand what's going on. How can
Yes.
somebody appear to have it all but be so miserable? And
Mm,
that leads right into financial literacy, and financial technology.
yeah.
This is a thing where you have access to so much credit, the opportunity to buy so many things. Even people may even feel like they have access to a lot of different jobs, or they can move around easily, or
Mm,
switch careers quickly, whatever the case might be. But in reality, we have to understand that a lot of these things are working together. Your physical
mm,
health, the food you have access to, your mental health, your financial well-being, all those things are connected. A lot
yes.
of times,
Yes.
what can you afford to eat? Can you
Yeah.
make that investment in yourself to switch jobs or switch careers to pursue something you're more passionate about? Is it time to do that?
Mm,
Mentally, where are you? Do you have everything, but your credit is so out of control you don't know what to do? Like
ooh.
it could all be such an illusion today, and it can all be such a it's so much more complicated today because of what technology has done. So outside of just financial literacy, financial technology, the system of credit, the system of crypto, what's really going on here, and how can people take advantage? So that's what inspired the series, and that's what inspired me to add financial technology to what Nova Sound was already doing.
Mm, love it. So, what's one common money mistake that you see people make over and over again?
Okay. A common money mistake I see people make over and over again is treating credit like additional income.
Mm,
This is one of the
yeah.
things where we get excited because it's a plastic card versus cash. We get excited. You can keep applying. You can add more credit to your credit. You can go spend it. They'll almost give you a loan for, I mean, as far as student loans, the sky's the limit almost, right? Fresh out of high school, fresh out of grade school, and you have access to really borrow whatever amount to get a certain education. There's pros and cons to that system, and I think that's become a lot more public knowledge to people. And then the same thing goes with cars and credit cards. If you let it get out of control, it will. So this is one of the things where keep your money and your credit separate, but understand how the two affect each other. Understand that the credit card is not additional income. You do have to pay it back. Don't forget that in the moment.
Mm, so crucial. How do you balance creativity with business strategy?
I love that. Really
Thank you.
understanding your target market and what's going to work. So there are products and projects. Like I have a vault of 600 songs. I've written
Whoa.
600 songs. I want to say 30 of them was before I was the age of 18, and then once I got to school and I learned music theory, that's when it all kind of exploded till now. 50 of the songs are on the market. That leaves 550 in the vault. Some of the songs in the vault are not going to produce the kind of revenue that other songs in the vault would. So even though music is my passion, it's therapeutic for me. When I'm going through the vault and deciding what music to publish or what music to sing, I know, okay, this isn't going to work. This was just a personal project. This is just a personal song, which was just for me as a human being. This also being one of my hobbies to the side, totally separate from the business. This song feels more like a personal note to myself or a personal thing. But this song has commercial viability, and I really think that this song could be effective in the market. Same thing with graphics and designs. That's one of the things where I often outsource, and then I'll get feedback from people on it. What do you think about this? What do you think about this display? And that's why I love InvestFest, because I get it's probably like 100, 200 people that I get to talk to over the course of the 3 days and get their feedback on the business. What brought you in here? What brought you to InvestFest? What made you stop at my booth? And then from there, I can better implement that detail. So it's literally live market research, in the moment.
That's true. So what kind of challenges do you face as an entrepreneur?
The biggest one, and I think this one is going to make quite a few people laugh, is probably exhaustion or being overworked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in book 1, I believe it's page 3. Book 1, page 3. That's book 2. But book 1, page 3, I go over time management and breaking your day down into 4 quarters, just like a basketball game, just like a sports game. And you want to do your best to win all 4 quarters with a realistic to-do list. So this is a skill set in itself of being able to manage your time and say, okay, let's do this together, coach, real quick. Let's say you start your day, right? And let's include cleaning, but tell me what else you want to get accomplished in that day.
Fitness, prayer, my wellness.
Okay. Anything else business-wise?
Business
Consultations with
wise?
clients?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Create
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to proposals, right? Emails, right?
Yes.
Maybe a few conference calls, maybe a few interviews.
Yes.
So that they can get jam-packed very quickly.
Yes.
So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to group certain things. We're going to do the most we can. But once it comes cutoff time, you now have to move to the next thing, right? Which means you'll go back to that thing another day where you allot the time for it. So the phrase time is money. This is very commonly said, very commonly stated. I've heard it so many different times. It's so true. But if you can budget your time and budget your money, you're going to see freedom in both spots, freedom in both places, freedom in both areas.
Yeah, that is so true. So, how do you adapt to new tools and technology without feeling overwhelmed?
When it comes to today, new tools and technology today, the biggest advantage is YouTube and Google University. You can
That's
take
right.
your time and you can learn things so quickly. So
Yeah.
when it comes to time management, I'm going to break my day down into 4 quarters. I'm going to have an
Okay.
effective to-do list, and I'm going to utilize all of the tools and all the apps available to me to learn about what's evolving, to learn about the emerging technologies, to learn about what's going on in the world. So overall, when it
Mhm.
comes to the time management and understanding that as an entrepreneur, you are going to get overwhelmed at times. Write it
Yeah.
down, take a deep breath, and research what other people did in that field. Research the experts. Look at people who succeeded at whatever that thing might be, because the answer is probably out there.
So true. Have you come across a book or a podcast or a mentor that has influenced you along your journey?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the book, there's a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. So
Mm,
what this did for my conscious mind and my subconscious mind, I felt the difference. I felt the shift. It allowed me to
wow.
focus so much more. So that book is, I'm a little more of a audible learner, so I like to listen to things. So you mentioned podcasts. There's so many different ones, but there's a gentleman named Dave Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you ask about anybody, people might say good and or bad things about them. But what I love about Dave actually inspired some of the material in the books, because Dave's podcast has been running for, I'm sure it's been over a decade. I'm not sure as far as how long, but I believe it's been over a decade for sure. And
Mm,
Dave's material is live. It's live calls where people can call in and say how they're doing financially. Live where they can ask him questions and get his professional opinion. Dave says, "Hey, I've had all the letters behind my name. I've been certified in this and licensed in this." And he let those things go so that he could run his own show and just tell people the raw truth. And I
yeah.
love that. That's what people need to hear. People need to hear the
Yes.
raw truth when it comes to finance in their situation. That's the only way you're going to fix it. And just like I
Mm,
tell people in person, just like I write in the book, it's only 12 to 24 months, guys. 12 to 24 months, you could turn your entire situation around. You just have to stay focused. That's the key. And that's what Dave pushes. And then in my personal life, as far as mentorship, I've had so many, absolutely too many to name. But my advice to everybody would
right.
be coachable. Be coachable. There's people in your field, there's people in your genre, there's people in your school, there are teachers, there are
Yes.
mentors around you in the company you work for. And it's okay to learn from other people and allow other people to learn from you as you progress.
Mm, that is so true. So, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give?
That's an amazing question. The advice I would give to my younger self is be patient and learn emotional control. Be patient.
Yes.
Things are going to take time. Keep working on it. The skills take time. Things
Yes.
materialize when you put time and focus into them. So just keep going.
That's
A lot of things panned out that I didn't think panned out. Now in my 30s, now in my 30s, I'm so adventurous as an entrepreneur because I've had so many best sellers in my business. Like at
wow.
InvestFest, both years, my book sold out both years. So in my
Wow.
mind, I still didn't bring enough copies because I sold out both years before the end of the conference, before the end of the festival.
Wonderful.
And then when it comes to, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question for me? There was another part I wanted to touch on.
I was asking, what would you say to your younger self?
Yes, be patient and learn emotional control, especially in
Yes.
business. When it comes to
Yeah.
business, Business is a raw thing. It either works or it doesn't. You either execute or you didn't. The product is either good or it's not. So
Mm,
as an artist, a lot of artists struggle with that. A lot of artists struggle with that because your art is so personal to you. But what does the market say? What does the market think about it? That's
yeah.
not always as emotional. It's a hard number. Can you sell
Mhm.
it for $100 or not? How many people are willing to pay that for whatever you're offering? And then you have to make that adjustment or improve the product, improve the service. But
Mhm.
understand that the way you might feel about it as an entrepreneur, mm, the market might not care about that.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel that you are standing in your calling?
Absolutely. And it took some time. So
Okay.
going back to my younger self, I didn't know that it was all going to work out. I just believed and I pushed and I went forward. But I'm absolutely standing right in the middle of it, more so now than ever before, because I'm back to being a musician and people see why I became a financial engineer and why I became a certified financial education instructor. They see that the two, how well they're connected in my life and how I show up as a person in general. And the one thing I've been hearing a lot is, people are inspired. People are
Oh,
inspired by what I've done and they feel like they can do it too. And those are the things that will push our community forward. Those are the things that are
yes.
going to push the world forward. New inventions, new innovative ideas.
Yes.
Several people approached the booth at investors and said, wow, this is innovative. And to me, I've been doing it for a while. It's been almost 12 years. To me, it's just natural. But to people
Right.
first time seeing my business, to them it's like, oh, so I can pursue something different. Yes, you can. And then listen to the market, get that emotional control, and make those adjustments as the business owner, as the CEO, or as a partner in the operation. What's going to make the business better? How can you better serve people? Because that's really what business is. How can you better serve people? And then what doors can you open for people in the process? And like I said,
Mhm.
that's what's ultimately going to push us forward.
Mm. So, do you have any tips for people who are trying to learn how to control or manage their finances? What they should do to get started controlling them, their managing of their money?
Absolutely. So going back to that emotional control part,
Okay.
it's the impulse spending, guys. It's the impulse spending. So the first thing, and I know when I say that, that's going to resonate with a lot of people because they know
Mhm.
exactly what I'm talking about. It's the ads on Facebook, it's the ads on Instagram, it's walking through the store, it's feeling hungry on your drive home, it's grabbing something extra at the gas station. It seems small, but if you can get those things under control for 12 to 24 months, you're going to have so much more money in 2 years, a bigger operation in 2 years, bigger investments in 2 years. So that's definitely number one is control the impulse spending, control the emotional spending. Next one would
Mm.
be leave the credit card at home.
Ooh.
If you can leave the credit card at the house, get your gasoline, get your groceries, go to work, come back, and focus on the financial plan highlighted in book
Mm.
one and book two. Step one, we're
Mm.
going to save $1,000 cash. If you're a seasonal employee, maybe $2,000 cash. Save that as quickly as you can. That's going to
Okay.
build some confidence. Step two, and this is what book two is all about, but it's highlighted in book one as well. But book two is all about mastering the debt trap and paying off your debt. This is going to take anywhere from 12 to 24 months on average. There are people who it takes 3 years, 5 years. That's okay, guys. Once your money is all your money, your entire perspective on life changes. I've seen it happen for so many people, and I know people who it took 5 years, 10 years, but they're debt free. They might have a house, they might not. I know some people are debt free and own their own house. This is a life changing thing. Debt free outside of the mortgage. I got to make sure I clarify with that. All the consumer debt is gone, the car debt is gone, the student loan debt is gone. If you can get those things under control to a point where now you're paying your mortgage and all your cash is yours, your entire perspective on things changes.
Mm.
Step three, this is saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. This is a journey. So kind of like that 100 tracks or 100 graphic design, the 100 songs that I mentioned earlier. If you're going into a
Yes.
music or production career, Step 3 of saving 3 to 6 months of expenses, right? Putting that money away. So this is like 10 to 20 grand for most people. If you can put that money away, it might take 6 months, but the discipline and the confidence it builds in a person to have 1,000 saved, debt paid off, 20 grand, and it's been 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Financially, you're a savant now. And then that leads us to step 4, which is maxing out all investments. This is where people get rich. This is where people build a Nova Sound, and then now they're able to build a Nova Financial Technology and employ people from different countries. This is where it happens. Step 4 is also where the big word, the buzzword, the word people love to use today, generational wealth. I just went through the 4 steps. Step 4 is where generational wealth begins to happen. I'm seeing it happen in my own family. And I come from a big group. My great grandfather was a gentleman named Owen Chung from Portland, Jamaica. We called him Big Daddy. Big Daddy it's like 100 descendants.
Whoa.
And this information is literally changing my family's entire trajectory, including life insurance. Because I don't talk about insurance in the book outside of having cash savings, because I'm not an insurance professional. And I know there's people who really been doing that for a long time. And I would encourage people to reach out to those individuals. And step 4, we're insuring our liabilities. Step 4, we're growing, we're expanding. So I mentioned the book quite a few times, and I saw it below on the screen, novafinancialtechnology.com. This is a simple read. I'm a financial engineer and a certified financial education instructor. And the reason why I got into that is because I wanted to make it simple for people. Everybody said the world of finance is too hard. The books is like 250 pages. They don't want to know where to start. And they ultimately open a book and they feel paralyzed. You're not going to feel this way with book 1. And then book 2, this is my personal story of how I paid off 6 figures in debt.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Oh, wow. I'm definitely going to read this book. I just received it. And you mentioned, so it's 2 books. What's the name of the first one and of this book?
So the first book is IO, which is a quadruple entendre. But what it means is, or the title printed right on the screen is investing in opportunities. Okay. So you get the book, and now you've invested in just the opportunity of understanding, okay, what's in this book? How would I be able to get control of my finances with this book? In IO, which is the first book, I go over several simple concepts. I'm going to give you one. Okay. Income producing activities. Now, I've been self-employed, part-time contract employee my entire time that I've been in the workforce, right? I never had a full-time job because I started Nova Sound fresh out of school. Doing the exact advice I gave on this interview. I made 100 sounds. I started writing songs. I made like 200 songs in like 6 months. And I said, okay, I'm really going to do this. So I want people to follow that advice. If you're passionate about it, I don't, even if it's making cakes, go ahead and try to make as many cakes as possible. Get feedback from people. What designs did they like, etc. What flavors did they like?
Yes.
And then in the book, IPAs, income producing activities, you want to find ways to make money all day, right? And the mistake I see people make is, well, I make 20 to 30 an hour at my job. I'm not going to do that $5 thing. That's the wrong way of thinking about it. If you're good at something, and you can, sound effects, each individual sound, I mentioned being a sound designer, each individual sound effect might only sell for $1. Some of them sell as high as $10 though, and some of them sell as high as $50. So imagine, this is a sound that I might have made 10 years ago that's bringing me revenue now. So don't think about it so hourly. You're a developer, you're an entrepreneur. Think about the big picture and how you can add more assets. And that's also mentioned in book 1 and 2. But assets minus liabilities equals our net worth. That brings us back to the score we mentioned above our head, having that financial health in order. And again, I want to drive it home. 12 to 24 months of discipline, paying off the debt and saving. That's it. That's it. And you can find yourself with a well-developed system like the one in the book, to the point where your money's working for you and you can now pursue additional things outside of, just working your regular 9 to 5. What else are you passionate about? Having a job is great. Having part-time jobs is great. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from being employed. You definitely want to have multiple ways of getting paid. But what else are you passionate about? And can you monetize that? So in the book, I also talk about the formula for finding your purpose, or how to find your purpose. A few simple questions, and then it's a graph, and that's in book 2. But it's a graph where you simply write down your trades or your skills, and then it leads right to how to monetize those things. And guys, these things create freedom. We all got bills to pay. The light bill, that's monthly. We can't turn the lights off, but we can knock out some of those debt and then now create revenue streams to pay our bills.
Yes.
And that leads me to a concept called absolute financial freedom. You know, this is Michael Jackson's estate still producing money after Michael Jackson's been gone for X amount of years. I remember hearing that Mike had passed as a 15-year-old, and I can't even believe that it's been so long, because he was such a living legend. But his estate still makes money. His estate still makes money every single day, and that's a beautiful thing. So learning those concepts is how we can build that generational wealth.
Wow. That's great. So people can purchase your book at novasoundpro.com. Is that correct?
Yes. So I'm gonna give you a few different domains, because the business has a few different things going on. Novasoundpro.com. If you get to novasoundpro.com, you click around, you can absolutely find a book. But if you want to go directly to it, novasound.shop or novafinancialtechnology.com, and you'll see the book on both of those homepages.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed this conversation, and I would love for you to come back in a couple of months so we can follow up and see what's going on in your world. Is that cool?
Absolutely. I'd be excited to. I'm big on growth. So, you know, me watching this interview in 6 months from now, when I come back for another show, and just seeing my own growth and then the growth of the audience, those things are beautiful. That's absolutely a beautiful thing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I mean, he just has so much information, and make sure you check out his websites. Again, novafinancialtechnology.com, as well as novasoundpro.com. Again, thank you all for tuning in on Beyond Boardroom Business Podcast with your host, Coach Stephanie. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you share this information. And I look forward to seeing you all next week at the same time, the same channel on all of my social media platforms. So until the next time, stay prayerful, stay patient, and stay powerful. Peace.